Alright guys, what's going on? So, another weekend of garage sale pickups. No pawn shops this week, just garage sales. And looking at it now, there's a lot more stuff here than I thought I got, because there was only kind of a few stops. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 pickups total, 4 garage sales that I picked up from. But there's a lot more stuff here than I expected. So let's get right into it. So first stop of the day, I did some Kijiji looking, looked at some garage sales. There's actually a ton of listings for garage sales with video game stuff, and the one that was sticking out to me the most was a garage sale opened up at 8 a.m. And the first picture that they had, it was a blurry picture of a Game Boy Advance SP, as well as a PSP Go. I have a PSP Go, but it's broken right now. It does not boot. If anyone knows how to fix that, you let me know. But I love the PSP Go, and I was super excited to get a new one so that I could have a bunch of PS1 games and stuff on the go. The PSP Go is so awesome. I love that console. So small, and yeah, it's awesome. So I messaged them. I don't normally do this, but I think I'm gonna get in the habit of doing this a little bit more, where I will message somebody the night before, especially if it's an early pickup, so that I can get there and make sure that this thing is still there. Because a lot of people will message and pick it up the night before the sale starts, and then I'll end up showing up and the thing's already gone, right? I wake up super early and it's already gone. But anyways, I messaged them. They said, yeah, it's still there. I told them I'd be there nice, bright and early. So they said 8 a.m. was when they opened up. I was there at around 7:40 or so. And I look around. I don't see it. I'm like, oh no, is it gone already? Because they were already very clearly open, and there was other people there. So I asked them, okay, do you have the video game stuff? I sent you an email about it. Do you have the PSP and the Game Boy? And they said, oh yeah, it's just over here. And so I walk over to it, and they had kind of a big Ziploc bag that had the PSP in one bag, and then they also had these kind of carrying cases for Game Boy Advances, and they had 2 of them. And I see the price tags, and my eyes go wide. Not for a good reason, but for a bad one. Because they wanted $150 for each of the Game Boy Advances in these cases. I think they had about 10 games or so each, but they were all junky kids games, really throwaway games. I think there was maybe 2 or 3 across the 20 or so Game Boy games that they had there that were decent titles, like Mario's and things like that. So they were out of their minds on the Game Boy Advances. They had no idea what they were worth. And the Vita was 120, or not the Vita, the PSP Go. I'm thinking about Vita because I was playing it. The PSP Go, they were asking $120 just for the system with the charging cable. Crazy. That doesn't even come with any games. It's a digital-only console, and they wanted $120 for it. So I was very, very disappointed at that sale. I was super excited for the PSP Go, but I had to walk away from that one. I think they said it was their daughter's consoles, and she hadn't played them in 15 years or something like that. It's been a long time since she played them, and she played them a little bit last night, and she kind of doesn't want to get rid of them. So they obviously jacked the prices up to a point that they aren't going to get rid of them. So yeah, that was the first big disappointment of the day. So be it. Had to keep moving, keep going. So the next one was also at an 8 o'clock. It was quite a drive, about another 20-minute drive or so to the next stop. And the listing on this one had so much video game stuff. It was Xbox, PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, everything you could think of, right? Wii stuff. It had the listings. It was just all the video games. We have all the video games. So I was like, okay, this is going to be crazy. I pull up, and it's a swarm of people. There's tons and tons of people there. So I just jump in, grab a few things that I see that I don't have. And the things that I grabbed were... First one I picked up was Jak and Daxter Collection Remastered for the PS3. I think this has all the Jak games, Jak 1, 2, and 3, which is really, really nice. I didn't have this one yet, and pretty cool. Pretty cool to have that one. I think I have all the Jak games on PS2 already, but having the remaster in one bundle is it's nice. It's really, really nice. And then the other ones that I picked up were, on the original Xbox, Armed and Dangerous. Never seen this one before. A game called PsyOps, The Mindgate Conspiracy. Sounds awesome. Really, really cool. And another game I have seen before, but I didn't own yet, was called The Suffering. So these all kind of cool, look like cool action games, maybe some shooters, possibly a little bit of horror maybe with The Suffering. I'm not too sure. But they were asking $2 a piece on all their games, so I can't argue with that. $2 a piece. All of them are in great condition. They're all complete. So I was very happy to pick up all those guys. So I had $8 worth of games here, and I was like, I need to make it 10. I need to make it $10. So I ended up looking around a little bit more, and I ended up finding this kind of mass bundle. I was like, what is this? So I see there's an instruction manual. It says Wii, and it's a Wii Speak. A Wii Speak. So it's a microphone for the Wii, brand new, sealed. Everything has all the components are here, and they had a listing for, I think, I don't see it anymore, but it was $1. They had $1 on this. Or maybe, no, it was maybe $2. $2 on this. So that gets me up to $10, and I was like, all right, it's bundle time. $10 for these. Let's see if I can find one more thing I want. And I saw this adorable little Sackboy from Little Big Planet 2, which still has the tags and everything on it, and it had $1 on it. So I said, hey man, you want to make $10, all this stuff? It's 11 currently. He's like, yeah, that's fine, of course. So I picked up these 4 games with the Sackboy and the Wii Speak for $10. $10 for all that stuff. Cool. So then I spent a little bit of time driving around, kind of killing time till the next garage sale that was on my list. The next one was at 9 o'clock, and I think it was like 10 after 8, or maybe 8:20, something like that. So I had a little bit of time to kill. I drove by this garage sale just to see, is it active, is it open? And it wasn't yet. So I figured, okay, I've got time to kill. Let's just kind of drive around another area that I know usually has some games, usually has some garage sales going on. So I found 2 more garage sales. I went to the first one, nothing. And I went to the second one. They didn't have any video games, but they did have a board game. I keep finding these. They did have a board game, and this one looked pretty awesome. It's called Small World. Small World. So this one, it's kind of like a fantasy strategy game. It was giving me some D&D vibes looking at the cover. And they had a price of $10 on the front of it. I looked it up real quick just to see kind of like the value on it and some of the ratings and stuff on like Board Game Geek. It seemed pretty well reviewed, and I think it's usually around $40 to $50. Took a look inside, everything looked clean and well taken care of. So $10, totally willing to pick that up and give it a try. Cool. So that was the next pickup. Now, this is the big guy. This is the one that's giving me all of everything I see in front of me right now. So the pickup that I was looking at, the one that was opening at 9 o'clock, I drove back by it around probably 8:40 or so. It wasn't open yet, but I saw that there was another car parked in the back lane waiting. I was like, oh man, I bet this guy's waiting for the same thing. But he was like a few houses away. So I pulled up like real close, right up in front of this garage, and I see a guy come out and he like looks over my window and he says, "Hey man, I need you to move. I need to move the car so I can go put out some garage sale signs." Okay, so I pull out just a little bit so he can get his car out of there. And his wife came out and opened the garage, and I immediately jump out. I go to start heading towards the garage, and I find this thing I'm looking at. The guy in the other car is pulling back. I don't know if he was here for the item that I picked up, or if he was here for some other stuff that maybe he saw in the Kijiji listing. But I immediately go and I get my hands on the thing that I wanted. And this was a giant box full of Intellivision stuff. So it's an Intellivision console, which is in pretty great looking shape for the age. This thing is older than I am, and it looks really, really awesome. I got to clean it up a little bit because there's still a little bit of dust and stuff on it. But here's the Intellivision here. Looks pretty awesome. And it came in a box full of games. Okay, so these games were all, as far as I knew, complete games in the boxes in cardboard. So I'll show you guys pictures of some of this stuff. I'm not gonna pull them all over here because there's just so many of them, and I've already got them alphabetized so they're ready to get on the shelf. But I think there's got to be at least 30 or so complete in box Intellivision games here, and some of them I really actually want to play, like some of these Dungeons and Dragons games. But honestly, just finding this stuff in this kind of condition where the boxes really aren't that thrashed at all, they're not really crushed, and they're got to be coming up on 35, 40 years old for some of these games. So yeah, there was all these complete in box games, as well as this one other item which I wasn't sure exactly what it did at first. Then I remembered an AVGN episode that had this item listed on it, which is the IntelliVoice. voice synthesis module and like plugs into the system, and it makes some of the games talk, which is amazing and hilarious, and I'm really excited to try it out once I figure out how to hook up the Intellivision, because it's kind of like the Atari where it's got weird hookups. So hooking up to something modern is going to be a little bit of work. But anyways, I saw all these games. I took a look in a couple of the boxes and saw that all the games were in there. The manuals are in there. The little overlays, which are for the controller. I didn't even know it was like little overlays for the controller. Maybe I'll show a picture of like how this is supposed to work. It's really, really cool. Everything is in there. It's complete. It's beautiful. It's all in such good condition. So I grabbed all this stuff and I asked the lady, do you know if this item works? And she said, like, I think so. You'd have to wait for my husband to come back. And I was like, oh man, I don't want to wait. Like, I want to get some other garage sales and stuff like that. So I ended up just grabbing it. And the price tag on this was $30 for everything, which I wasn't sure if that was a great deal or not, but I think looking back at it now, it's a steal, especially considering the condition. So I grabbed all this stuff and I was ready to go, but we were talking a little bit more, and she looked down at the shelf that this was on. It was on kind of like a storage unit type shelf, and she saw that there was like another box there beside it, and I didn't think much of it. I assumed everything was contained inside this one box, but it was this box here. Let me grab it so you can see kind of what it looks like. It was this box that says the napkin caddy, and it's some type of cooking thing, holds your salt and pepper and napkins. Very exciting, right? So I just assumed, okay, it's just some cooking stuff. But we opened it up, and inside of the box, more Intellivision stuff. So inside the box, there was, all this stuff's kind of out of reach for me, so I gotta go grab it. There was a bunch more loose games. This big stack of loose games here. This big stack, as well as a ton of these manuals, all these manuals. And I sorted through everything. I assumed, okay, these games must belong in the boxes, right? These are the boxes. These are the games that go in the boxes. There's a couple of these other ones here. And when I eventually got it home, I started opening up the boxes. I was like, okay, man, I'm going to start compiling everything and make sure that we got all this stuff complete, that it's the games in the boxes, right? I'm flipping through the boxes. Games are in the boxes. Games are in the boxes. Every single box has a game in it. So all of these are duplicates. This first big stack are duplicates. And these two, they don't have the boxes, but they are games that I don't have complete in box. So I'll probably hold on to these ones still, as well as the manuals for them. But we just don't have the boxes. So I'll end up selling this other stack of, it's got to be 15 or so games. I'll list those on Kijiji and try and get rid of them. But yeah, that's pretty nice. So it's kind of a bonus for those games. So yeah, that was the biggest pickup of the weekend. Drove around to a few other garage sales. One that I pulled up at had a listing again for video games. I didn't see any signs or anything. I drove down the back lane and there was people lined up, and I'm like, see ya. I'm out of here. I'm not willing to line up behind like 5 or 6 other people here they looked like they were there for video games. So I was like, no, I'm gonna keep going. Went to another sale. This was one that I've seen the guy before. I've been at his garage sale maybe once or twice before, but it's been in different locations. I'm not sure how this happens, but I guess they kind of try a whole bunch of different times across multiple years. And I saw an original Game Boy. I was like, yes, I'm excited for the Game Boy. Asked him how much he wanted for it. $25, and he said the screen was like kind of messed up. So I was like, I'm gonna pass. Like, I want to get an original Game Boy because I still don't have one for my shelf. But I wasn't willing to drop money, that kind of money at least, on one that's not in good condition. But he did have a bunch of other games. He had some Game Boy stuff, some Game Boy Advance stuff, some Game Gear stuff. He didn't have the Game Gear, unfortunately. But I ended up asking him how much he wanted for these Game Boy games, and he said probably about $5 a piece on most of them, but some might be more than others. So usually that tells me, oh man, I can't pick up any of this stuff because he's going to want retail pricing on everything. But I looked through a few of them. There was quite a few that I didn't have, and I ended up picking up a lot of them, actually. I got 4 games here, so I spent $20, and the games we picked up were Mario Land 3 on the Game Boy Color. I got this Spy Hunter and Super Sprint. I think this might be 2 games on the Game Boy Advance, Spy Hunter Super Sprint. as well as these are the two of my favorite titles probably from the pickups. We got Mega Man Battle Network 3 White on the Game Boy Advance. Didn't have that one yet. As well as a game I didn't know it was going to be as valuable as it is, which is Mortal Kombat Advance on the Game Boy Advance as well. So we got those 4 games for $20. I didn't really want to haggle with the guy too much. I was kind of done for the day. Yeah, we probably finished up. It's got to be around 9:30, 10 o'clock. I was kind of done with all the garage sales. Then I just spent the rest of the day just kind of hanging out and doing some other things. And it was a pretty awesome set of pickups, I gotta say. So something a little bit different this week. Since I'm making such a big change to all this stuff that's up here, because I got to make room for this massive selection of complete in box and television games, I'm going to do a separate video where I'm actually going to rearrange this shelf. I'm going to move all of my handheld stuff, so all the DS stuff, all the Game Boy stuff, all the PSP and all the Vita stuff. I'm going to put that on a separate shelf, which I don't know if you guys have seen yet. And it's going to turn into my handheld and kind of display shelf. And that will give us a little bit more room, fingers crossed, hopefully, for some more games on this wall here. But yeah, thank you guys for checking it out. Look out for this other video. I'll see if I can link it in the description if you guys want to see kind of the development of the game wall. But I'll also list, probably right now, I'll list how we did this week somewhere around me. You'll see it. You'll see it around me, how we did this week as far as pickups, total spent, and total value. I think total we spent 10, 20, 50, plus another 20, $70. I think we spent $70 this week. But let's see what it's all worth after I calculate it, which is going to take a little while with all this television stuff. But yeah, thank you guys for checking out the video. Look out for the other game collection, game room organization video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later, guys.